Yeah, they had us the first half. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now. McGrath for the win.
He got it.
If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. Today is, God, what is today?
I don't know, dude. Time's becoming
Today
totally
is
irrelevant.
Sunday, January 7th at North Graphic. Caleb's not here, and he's our tech guy, so a lot of technical difficulties will probably happen during the show. Bear with us.
You would assume I would be a little bit more on the ball on that, but
Hey, you're good. You're good.
at some point we'll.
Yeah, we'll get that in at some point. Guys, thanks for joining in. We appreciate it. Got a good show. Tennessee's basketball team is pretty damn good, as was yesterday showing. We have Mike Wilson on, special guest. Been a while since we had him on. I think the last time we had him on, we were actually talking baseball. He's a beat writer for Knox News, the Knox News Sentinel, and going to talk some basketball. Super excited about that. We're going to talk some recruiting news, talk some national championships tomorrow, so we'll talk about that, even though no one cares.
Yeah.
But I guess it will be cool. Like, I don't have any kind of hatred, really. I mean, I don't like Michigan, but I don't really hate them either. Maybe you're differently. You feel differently because you're an Ohio guy.
No, you mix that up all the time. I don't like OSU. I don't hate Michigan though. I don't have that same, but I mean, I don't enjoy them either. I mean, I'll be cheering for Penix and the Huskies, but
Yeah, I think everybody that's America's team.
Yeah.
in this one, they just the whole like Michigan cheating thing. I think it will be funny if they do end up winning because we can say it's an asterisk and it's going to drive Michigan fans nuts, including our good friend Ross Kivett, who only texts me when Michigan does something well. So super excited about that. I hope they do lose, just in the case where I get to text him back and be like, hey, man, sorry for your loss.
yeah. Well, and I mean, you know, Harbaugh died earlier this season, so I mean,
He died.
It'd be a really bad way to go out this year.
Yeah, I think Connor Stallions, if he does like go out, I think they should. If he goes to the NFL after this year, no matter what happens, I think the interim should be Connor Stallions. I think that would only make this story so much better.
Should Connor Stallions get a? I mean, we got some bowl openings next year. Why not Connor Stallions Bowl?
I'm in.
We'll sponsor it. We'll do a More Important Issues Connor Stallions.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Guys, let's get right into that. We're gonna have, like I said, Mike Wilson on here in a little bit, talk some basketball, but I do want to start with just an absolute beating or choking, if you will, for this one. Ole Miss comes in undefeated, and I think with Tennessee, like, everything's not going to be perfect. At times in the game, I was just like, what are we doing? That was ugly, this and that. Tennessee won by 26 points. Is that right? 26 points.
Yep.
Put up a 90 piece on Ole Miss. I just thought this was a kind of complete team effort. You got to see two guys put up double doubles, Jonas Adu, Zakai. I will say this. I was not prepared to have Jonas Adu shoot the ball 19 times and Dalton Connect only shoot it 6. I would have lost that bet. But, yeah, I mean, this team has a ton of weapons, and I think it can be somebody different night in and night out, and I think that's what makes this team so dangerous.
Yeah, I think the depth is – I think we talked about that a little bit and getting into SEC play, it's going to be a little bit more crucial. But you're right. I mean, I know we're going to talk later about it, but I think that depth is like kind of the difference maker. I think there's been some years where we've had a really, really solid team, but sometimes that team doesn't show up to play.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't expect to be, winging on Dalton Connect this season, but we haven't really had to because like we thought he was going to be, just our MVP for the season. And, he's shouted out a little bit and, seen a little bit less production. But again, having that depth kind of sets us up to be able to have a little bit more confidence for longevity this season, at least through SEC play and into the postseason at some point. We'll get there when we get there, but
yeah, it's going to be a grind through SEC play. There is some really good teams in the SEC. I thought Ole Miss was probably going to be one of them, but now I think everybody knew it was a little bit of fool's gold with them being 13-0. Really, the only win they really have is against Memphis. They beat NC State by 20, but other than that, like no good wins at all.
Yeah, it was a close game at home against Memphis. I mean, they beat Temple, NC State. I mean, they've
had a lot of close games too.
Yeah, I mean, barely squeezed by UCF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just kind of squeaked by some teams. And Tennessee, I think the most impressive thing was us just dominating the paint. I think that was a point of emphasis in practice, probably to just go at their bigs. Cisse, who was at Memphis, and then Oklahoma State, I think, and now he's at Ole Miss. I mean, they had 2 7-footers. One was 7'5", and I was like, "Oh God, here we go." I mean, we're going to make this guy look like Zach Edey, but only 2 rebounds from him. Only 5, I think, from Cisse, and Zakai had 5 himself. Zakai is 5'9".
Yeah,
those guys are 7 foot and only had 7 rebounds between the 2 of them. So I thought that was big, but the rebounds 47-24 was the difference.
That's huge, and that's usually not. I mean, usually I'm screaming at my TV watching Tennessee basketball game, bitching about rebounds and boxing out and actually trying to get quality rebounds. And it was the difference maker last night by a mile.
Yeah.
Not to mention Jonas Aidoo was basically Zach Edey in the paint here, right?
Yeah. I don't know what to think about that. Is it just like he just dominates when he wants to? Is it? I just feel like there's a little bit of inconsistency with Aidoo. I mean, I'm loving that performance, and I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I just like, is that what we're going to see? Because I'm all for it. I just want to see it more.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I don't expect him to go 24 and 10 every night, but I do expect him to. I think he is a walking double-double.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you can't you can't expect to see like that. I mean, maybe you can, but I just think with his pattern, I don't think you can expect to see that, next big SEC game or anything. I think it ebbs and flows, and when he's hot, he's hot. I mean, when he's open down there, he's an absolute weapon. I mean, teams probably don't expect him to do something like that, and then he pops out like that, last night, and goes 10 for 19, 24 points. It's not stoppable. And then again, you said they had 2 dudes over 7 foot. Like, usually when you draw that up before the game, you're going to be like, okay, so we're going to have to, draw up some perimeter scoring, which can either be ice cold or fire hot for Tennessee. So kind of makes you worry a little bit. And so when you're able to do that against, bigger guys in the paint and game plan for that, I mean, I think it shows promise.
Yeah. I didn't really know. I thought they would win the rebounding battle, but not in that way. Like not an absolute just demolishing. I mean, we had 19 offensive rebounds. They had 4. We got second chance points.
That's ridiculous.
That was the difference in the game. Tennessee got second chance points, and Ole Miss did not.
Yeah.
And 4 of their starters were kept under their season average, including their top scorers in Flanagan and Morrell. And I mean, Tennessee just kind of rolled. I know Dalton Connect only played 19 minutes in this game, was 3 for 6. I mean, I was hoping he'd go for 30, but I'm cool with Aidoo sniffing 30 and Zakai having a double-double and 5 rebounds to go with that. I mean, and I think Zakai's the engine that keeps this train rolling. he looks like he's 100%. I wish Dalton Connect. I wish they could both be 100% at the same time. It just doesn't seem like that's the way it is right now. But Zakai's shooting the lights out. When he's able to hit those threes consistently, he's probably the best guard in the SEC.
Yeah. He was talking last night after the game again about people doubting on his size. I don't know who's still doubting on his size at this point because he's proven wrong time in and time out year after year. So whoever that is, stop.
Yeah. Do you think it's kind of like the what's that called? What's that movie called with Adam Sandler? Good Lord, Waterboy.
Oh.
When it's tackling fuel and he like pictures somebody like talking about his mom.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some like he's picturing like Alan Flanagan talking about his size.
Probably. The guy's a big family guy. It's probably where he draws that energy.
Yeah.
Disrespect my family about my size.
Mm-hmm. And everybody's just filling up the stat sheet. I mean, Vescovi had a quiet 11 points, but 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Josiah, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 25 assists in the game. I mean, this is a total. It's a team.
Yeah, it's a box score game for sure.
Yeah, it's not just Zach Edey and everybody, around the 3-point line. In case he gets triple team, they can kick it out and maybe shoot a 3. This is a complete team effort, and they have some guys on the bench that are, getting good minutes. Tobey Awaka had 9 points, 3 rebounds. Jemai Meshack continues to be a weapon, and he's a shooter. I don't care. Like, I know doesn't have a ton of confidence, especially when he's wide open. Dude's a shooter. The last 4 games, 67% from 3.
Yeah.
I think he's 6 for 9 in the last 4 games.
Nice.
8 point. Yeah. 8 points. I think he's around 62% from the field. 3 rebounds. I think 2 assists per game. I mean, he's just been like a great role player for Tennessee. And I think him getting all those minutes when Zakai got hurt last year has paid off, been incredible for him and in his development and just gaining more confidence to be not only great defensively, which we all know he's an incredible athlete and he gives effort, but he's getting some confidence where he's able to score the basketball too.
Yeah. And we haven't even talked about the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's like you said, beginning of the game obviously didn't turn out like the end. We were up 9 at half, and even the first 15 minutes of the first half weren't on any trajectory of what you would consider the last 25 minutes of the game. But other than Brakefield, they didn't score a lot of points, and it's not like they were just, 37% from 3, 42 from the field. It's not far off from our numbers. They beat us on 3-point and just were underneath us on field goals. So it's not like, it just wasn't their night. I mean, held a lot of their players. I mean, they still had 3 guys in double-digit scoring, but really dampened and then obviously when you can keep up with it on offense, I mean, that's the key to beating any team, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a second chance points, and I know Tennessee kind of really pulled away in that second half. I think Ole Miss was just kind of done. They were done getting pressure. They were done missing shots, contested shots. They were done getting dominated on the glass, and it just kind of snowballed from there and ended up being a 26-point victory.
Those second chance points are huge. Like they're very underrated, and they might not be as flashy, but offensive rebounds turning into points. That's the kind of stuff that in March makes the difference. It's okay. Maybe our efficiency isn't what it needs to be from the field, but if we're getting the right amount of offensive rebounds and able to get second chance points, it's absolute difference maker.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a good basketball team. And I think it's, everybody's kind of wait and see mode because we know we can get in these kind of droughts where we can't throw in the ocean and, people want to see results in March. I get it. But I think this is one of the best basketball teams Tennessee's had since probably that Grant Williams Admiral team. Just with the veterans you have, with the role players you have some inside scoring with Tobey and Adu. They seem to be getting better at not getting in foul trouble. And if they're able to do that and everybody's attacking the glass, everybody's, passing the ball around, sharing it, getting those assists, and people were knocking down shots. I mean, this is one of the best basketball teams in the country, and I think Chris Beard, I don't know about his like personal life things that he says or his decisions that he makes, but he did say Tennessee's a Final Four team, and I mean, you got to get there, but Tennessee is a legit contender to win a national championship with this team.
Yeah. I would trust his word. I'm sure he's a honorable guy, cool, calm, and collected, I'd have to assume.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, even earlier in the season when, things weren't clicking as much or, we were kind of dependent on DK a little bit more. We weren't sure how the, the depth was going to work out. We had close games against the 1 and 2 team in the country and then, had 190 combined points against North Carolina. I mean, the pieces are there, and I think they're starting to be put together. And again, I don't want to overreact over. I mean, obviously, Ole Miss was a big one, top 25 win, first conference game. But I mean, pieces are getting put together, and I don't want to speak too much on it because trust me, we've been there. We think the pieces are together, and then next week it's a different story. But for right now, we got to assume for the next couple SEC matchups that we could see some pretty solid puzzle piecing.
Mm-hmm. And Tennessee was 11 for 30 from 3. Is that right?
I just had it up. Yes, 11 for 30, 36.
And I think the biggest one of the night was Adu's right at the half. To extend that from 6 to 9, nice. I think that was a huge difference. And, I mean, looking back, it was 26 points was the margin. But
Meshack, you mean?
Who did I say?
Adu.
Yeah, sorry.
Adu wasn't. He wasn't. But
yeah, he shouldn't be shooting. He's doing too well down low. Don't break that up.
Hey, he was putting up threes against George Mason. I'm not saying we need to depend on it, but if there was ever an instance where he's behind the arc and he needs to put it up, I'm not mad if he takes a shot.
He's going to be open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the big guy is not getting to the paint and being like, "Oh, Adu's at the top of the key. I should probably run up there and cover it." No. Big guys are lazy. They're not. They just ran all the way down the court to get in their zone. They're not running back up to the top of the key to try to defend a guy that doesn't shoot threes. So
it's
secret weapon.
Maybe we'll save this question and bring it back up with Mike. But is Adu who we wanted Euros to be? I mean, like a little bit more versatile, yes, definitely absolutely. A little bit more,
absolutely,
a little bit more range.
I mean, I didn't
mean to get you started on Euros. I'm sorry.
I love Urosh, but I have never been so catfished by guys' highlight tape than I was with Urosh Plavsic. I mean, his Hamilton Heights highlights. He's shooting threes and
Tavon Austin highlight tape.
Yeah, and then he gets here, and I mean, he was an enforcer, but he looked nothing like that kid that was on that huddle film.
No,
and didn't play basketball like him either. I'm convinced it wasn't even him; it was somebody else's highlight tape.
We had a good run. We man, when we were trying to free Euros, I thought that was the moment, but I'm not mad about it. Things played out how they did, and
yeah.
Now we got Jonas Adu, so.
Yeah. Also, if y'all have any comments, questions, drop those in the chat. Also, go check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you call it. Go subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. I know a lot of y'all probably follow us on Facebook or X or Twitter. But go subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to grow that a little bit. So if you don't care to do that, we'll have the full interview with Mike Wilson on there as well. So go check that out. Also,
yeah, we're gonna get that YouTube, equipped with some more media soon and some more stuff. So
right,
go ahead and subscribe now while you can buy in on the hype.
Yeah. Also, go check out our good friends at Grade A Grounds, a local coffee roasting company in Kingsport, Tennessee. Billy Miller is the owner. He's two guys, teachers in that area that created this. They want to give back to the students in their area, and they do that by donating 5% of our sales to a nonprofit. And they want to allow students an opportunity to display their artwork on their coffee bags. So go check them out. Use promo code GOVOLS, and that'll let them know that More Important Issues sent you. So go do that, gradeagrounds.com.
Do for the kids.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
You kind of like, now you know about it.
We're not Michael Jordan. We love the kids.
Exactly. Now that you know it's for the kids, you're at the checkout line. We're asking if you want to donate $1 to kids. If you want to press X and walk away and feel bad the rest of the day, fine. let it sit with your morals. But
yeah,
I don't even drink coffee, and I support Grade A Grounds. That's how great they are.
Absolutely. Yeah, I drink it all the time now. I'm addicted because of Grade A Grounds. Yeah. All right. Special guest. We now welcome on to the show Mike Wilson from Knoxville News. Mike, how's it going, man? Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute for sure. Usually we're doing this during baseball season, I feel like, but basketball is pretty worth talking about.
Yeah, right, I thought I'd throw you for a loop and, throw you a little curveball in there and make you do basketball this time.
Love it. And we got a baseball reference in about basketball too, so that's perfect.
Yeah. So how is everything? Holidays treat you well? You gain any weight?
Always. Yeah. I mean, working in sports media is a weight gaining activity in and of itself. So absolutely.
I was going to ask you, at the basketball games and y'all kind of sit in that front row, how come Ryan Shumpert isn't invited to the adult table?
That's a great question. I think you have to be able to grow facial hair to sit in the front row. That might be his drawback, but that is a good question. We've had like the same 6-person lineup there on the front for quite some time now. So I think it's just kind of been status quo for, this is my 7th basketball season. I think it's been about the same the whole time.
Okay, so he's first guy off the bench is Ryan Shumpert.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6th man of the year in everyone's vote, unanimous 6th man of the year. Would start most places. Definitely.
Just team guy.
100%.
Mike, I do want to ask you. It's only basketball season now, which we got that long break that felt like months. I'm sure it was great for you.
Yes.
But the rest of us are like, are we even playing basketball anymore? Like, is it over? What have you seen so far from this basketball team that you like?
I will say, I think that break was great for them. They had a couple rolled ankles, a couple injuries that certainly helped because you don't usually get that break. Rick Barnes has talked about it, 5 days being the longest one he can remember. That was their gap between kind of practices. Man, what I'm so impressed with this team is the defense really hasn't fallen off, but they're so much better as far as the analytics and metrics say offensively. I also think the list probably starts with Josiah Jordan-James for me. He's maybe outside the last couple games been their most consistent player. It's been Zakai Ziegler lately, but I think just the way that Josiah Jordan-James has played has been really inspired. And I think that's changed a lot for this team, but it really comes down to the guard depth, the number of weapons they can throw at people, the development of Jonas Adu, and they've got a lot going for them right now. And that's obviously reflected in being the number 5 team in the country.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about Jonas and Jemai. I mean, those guys have been a force and actually become weapons on this team, whereas like previous years, probably more of like a role player, but this time it's like people actually have to scout those guys. What have you seen from those two, and do you think it's just them just gaining confidence, or what do you think the reason for that is?
I do think confidence is a huge part of it when it comes to Jonas. He has 3rd double-double of the year. Yesterday it was 24 and 10. He had that 29-point game earlier in the year. He's faced all the best bigs in the country, and pretty much in a 3-game stretch too, with Purdue, Kansas, and North Carolina back-to-back. And he held his own to an extent. He got his butt kicked a little bit by some of those guys, but he bounced right back and has proven himself to be a really reliable interior player. But yeah, Rick Barnes talked about it last night, and it's not the first time he's said it, where his job has kind of been instilling confidence, reminding Jonas, like, you can be an elite big man. Like, you can do what you're doing in these games all the time. And when he kind of decides to be that player, it's big because he was their only offensive threat for maybe the first 7 minutes last night. He and Tobey both were kind of carrying that. When you talk about Jemai, I thought his quote last night, it makes no sense in some ways, but it's perfect for Jemai Meshack. He said he's a star in his role. And usually you don't associate a star and a role as kind of the same things because role players aren't stars. But Meshack's basically said, I'm going to be a star as a role player. And he is that. I mean, he's a guy who changes games with defense, doesn't really need shots. He took a few yesterday and made a couple big 3-pointers, obviously, but gets most of his points, hustling, offensive rebounds, good cuts. But he just does all the little things really well, and plays the game so hard that it's hard not to see how he affects the team just by being on the court, from an attitude and a competitiveness standpoint alone.
Yeah, and is he becoming a shooter, like an actual shooting guard? Because I mean, we talked about it the last 4 games. I think he's 6 for 9 from 3.
It was funny. So Chris Beard, when he came to his post-game press conference last night, referenced, he goes, "We left a 3-point shooter before half." And I was like, that is the first time someone has referred to Jahmai Mashack as a 3-point shooter. And I don't know if it was just a casual, the fact the guy was behind the 3-point line, but I was like, that's interesting. That someone referred to Jahmai Mashack in that capacity. That's such a popular kind of question for Jahmai and Rick Barnes, has just been how much work has gone into that jump shot. And it's obviously improved. And Rick Barnes, some people joke about him being the shot doctor, and Jahmai's put in a lot of work there. And that shows, because I know when Tennessee recruited him, the general understanding was great kid, really good defensively, plays the game hard, plays the game the right way, got to develop a jump shot. But I think the vision, and this obviously isn't exactly what he's become, was might have a Jordan Bowden type profile. When you think of like a 6'5" guard, I think Jahmai's probably more on the 6'4" side, but hit those mid-range jumpers, do a little bit like that. And you're starting to see him be a player that teams can't sag off, because that's what they did last year. They would leave him open from 3 and willingly let him shoot it, but you can't really do that as much anymore because he's making those shots.
Yeah, and I think, as bad as it was to see Zakai go down with an injury, I mean, looking back on it, it had to be good for Jahmai, for his development, to get that kind of playing time.
I mean, put him in a different role because he's not a point by nature, and he's not really on this team either. He's probably third or fourth when you really look at it. But the fact he can do that is a big deal. And he went end-to-end last night for one of his buckets. I think it was a floater kind of made there sometime in the second half. But, yeah, it's just his overall game, his confidence. You see it. And I think he's always been a confident kid, but you're really seeing it translate into play. Maybe not in the same level of a jump as you are with Jonas, but you are still seeing that affect Jahmai as well.
Yeah, and Dalton Knecht, he just, he put up those 30-point games, and, everybody thought he was going to be probably the SEC Player of the Year, maybe looking at national awards, and he's kind of fallen off a little bit. I know he dealt with an injury in that North Carolina game. Is he still kind of dealing with that injury, or what's kind of going on with Dalton Knecht?
I mean, I think there probably still could be some effects of that. It looked pretty bad when it happened, obviously. Sure. But I think more so Tennessee's final 2 non-conference games with Tarleton State and Norfolk State, those were physical teams. I mean, Rick Barnes talked about it. Like, that's why they wanted to play those teams, because of their style of play and the way that they were going to guard Tennessee. I think Dalton Knecht has learned the level he's at now, and the way that people are preparing and scouting for him. I mean, the SEC is going to be a beast for him to deal with. He got a taste of that, obviously, against Ole Miss. But teams are locking in on him. And I think Ole Miss tried to force him to go left. Because he gets to the top of that key, does that little dribble there. He likes to go right, and they turned him over a couple times on that. So I think it's more just he's facing a different level of defensive intensity and attention from better athletes than he's used to going against on a consistent basis. And, I mean, his offensive game translates, so it's a matter of time. But I think right now it's just a matter of adjusting to those things.
Yeah. Mike, Lan and I were talking earlier. I know it's way too early to be talking postseason and stuff in March, but you can't help but get a little bit excited. But a couple coaches and media members have, stated Tennessee to be a Final Four caliber team. Mm-hmm. What do you think makes this team a little bit different or special than teams we've had in years past that clearly just couldn't get it done when it comes to March?
I think it's the balance and the depth. I mean, in KenPom right now, as of last night anyway, I think Tennessee was up to number 4, number 25 in offensive efficiency, and number 2 in defensive efficiency. Last year, they were 1 in defense, perhaps at the end of the year. I don't recall for certain. They were like 65th offensively. The typical profile you hear people talk about when it comes to Final Four teams and national championship teams are teams that rank in the top 20 in KenPom in both of those categories. And Tennessee's one of, I think it was 8 or 9 teams that are in the top 20 in both of those right now. So the metrics say they're good. The eye test says they're good. But I think in terms of personnel and what they're doing, Zakai Ziegler, the way he's played the last 8 games, is a big reason why you've got to feel good about Tennessee in the postseason, because elite point guard play matters. I mean, that Tennessee with Zakai Ziegler last year is probably in the Final Four with the way that bracket fell. I mean, that Kansas State might have been the problematic matchup there with the way it went. I think Tennessee probably beats Florida Atlantic with Zakai just because that was the matchup that was tough there. It was the speed at guard. That makes you an immediate threat. We talk about Jonas and his confidence. I thought the biggest question mark going into this year was what is Tennessee going to get in the paint? Because all they really have truly is Jonas Adu and Tobe Awaka, both of whom have shown to be foul prone in their careers, have done much better managing that. But I wondered if Tennessee was too thin there. Tobe is playing at a huge level right now too, so they're getting production there. I think you go back to Josiah. I think you talk about Santiago Vescovi and just he's the glue and kind of the little guy that makes everything run together in all the little things he does on the court on both ends. So there's so much experience, so much talent. You kind of got to like what Tennessee's got. And I think anytime you're in the top 5 in early January, you obviously have to be talked about as a Final Four team as well.
Yeah, I want to go to the post players a little bit. I mean, we've seen obviously Jonas Adu can have 10 rebounds in a game. We saw that. Tobe Awaka can get a double-double pretty much not in and not out if he's playing that kind of minutes. But we've also seen, Zakai had 5 rebounds last night. Vescovi had 4. Josiah had 8. Has that been a point of emphasis with this team probably since the beginning of the year where we don't have as much depth in the paint? So everybody needs to attack the glass, or is that just Rick Barnes in general?
I think that's just a culture and identity thing. I mean, Santi, to be fair, has been a good rebounding guard for a while. It feels like he gets knocked to the ground going for a rebound at least a couple times a game. Josiah rebounds well, obviously, from the 3-4 spot. Dalton's not a bad rebounder, and I think he's done some more of that. I mean, yeah, what Tennessee did yesterday on the glass was a lot of words I can't really say on a media setting. They rebounded half their misses. They had 19 offensive rebounds and 38 missed shots. It was absurd. But they are a good rebounding team, but that very much is a culture thing, I think. But it does matter what you're saying. Tennessee's a little thin inside, so having good rebounding guards helps that a lot. Sure. They went up against 2 7-foot guys yesterday. One of them 7'5" and handled business. So it's always a team effort with the way they do that.
Do you see any signs in Thompson Bowling Arena, Food City Center, whatever you want to call it, about Chris Beard? Did you see any that kind of stuck out to you, or any signs in general, I guess?
I didn't see any.
Okay.
I also usually not really looking around at that stuff during the game. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if someone got creative with something. But I didn't see anything personally myself.
You didn't create a sign yourself?
No, I mean, my forehead, since my hair kind of went away, my forehead's kind of a sign in and of itself. So if I wanted something, I could put it there, but I did not see anything, no.
Other than like having to face a 7'5" big man and having a team, not miss a shot in like a whole half like they did against North Carolina, what is something that Tennessee could see that could give them fits, in March or in, deep in SEC play?
I do think there's a slight susceptibility there to an elite big man. And again, I mean, when Tennessee lost 3 straight games, each one of those teams had probably one of the 3 best big men in the country in Purdue's Zach Edey, Kansas's Hunter Dickinson, and North Carolina's Armando Bacot. So that seems like something that might be a problem just based on those results alone. But I think you talk about Tennessee's offense, though, in terms of what's cool about Tennessee's team is any one of those guys can beat a team on any given night. But you still have that worry of, well, what if the wrong people don't do it on the right night? And I think that's been probably a consistent theme for the past couple seasons as well, where you wonder if someone goes cold. Like if Santiago Vescovi went cold in March last year, Tennessee was toast because they just didn't have, other than a God game from Olivier Kamwa, obviously, against Duke, they just didn't have the same level of weapons. I think they need to stay healthy. An injury in the post would be very problematic. If Jonas Adu or Tobe Awaka got hurt. I mean, last year, Zakai was probably the player that Tennessee could not lose because they just didn't have another guy at that position that could really, truly do it. I think you talk about Tennessee's post the same way. So that's obviously not a matchup thing or a team that could give someone a problem, but you got to stay healthy. I mean, that's a key part of all of this too, if you want to make a run like that.
Sure.
Looking at SEC play, obviously Kentucky's probably the main problem we face in the SEC. Given what you've seen of Kentucky so far, obviously that early loss to was at UNC Wilmington or something like that. What's your rundown on Kentucky and what kind of threat that poses for Tennessee in conference play?
They have a flame-throwing offense, is what Kentucky is right now. They are light years ahead of where I thought they would be going into SEC play. Obviously, with the level of recruits they brought in, there was always this potential. Antonio Reeves playing the way he's playing is really elevating things. I think he's at 18-ish a game right now. So him coming back changed everything for Cal and that roster. But man, I mean, they have dudes. Bradshaw coming on is changing that as a 7-footer who can do a lot of things. But it's big-time offense.
Sure.
They might be one of those teams, too, that's actually ranked in the top 20 in both those categories on KenPom. But Auburn, man, don't sleep on Auburn, too. I think they're 5th in KenPom, right behind Tennessee at 4. And Bruce Pearl's team's really good. Aiden Holloway as a freshman point guard has been awesome. That's a good team as well. It looks like those three, as SEC play starts, that they're kind of the favorites. Then there's a little bit of a drop, probably before like an Alabama, Arkansas. Alabama does have the best offense, but they don't play defense. So that's going to hurt that. But yeah, it seems like a 3-team race to open league play anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the SEC a little bit with just the amount of guys it seems like has been in this league forever. And Tennessee's got a lot of them too. But Matthew Morrell's one. Broome is one at Auburn. Mississippi State. Is Tolo Smith still there? Probably.
He's hurt, but I don't know if he's back. He's still there.
Yeah. Was there any surprises yesterday? And, who's some guys to kind of look out for that Tennessee will face in conference play?
Well, Musa Cisse was one of those dudes too yesterday where I was like, you're still in college? DJ
Flanagan was another one.
Alan Flanagan. Yeah. I mean, it's COVID year is a big reason why some of this is still happening, of course. But it's an older sport in general right now. A buddy of mine who covers Michigan State, Graham Couch, put out, it was yesterday, the Pistons had a possible starting lineup that would be younger than 9 of the Big Ten teams. Just based on age, because that's college basketball is an older sport right now, just because of COVID year. NIL has obviously changed that with guys staying in school a little bit longer because sometimes you're earning more money in college. So what was your original question? I completely forgot. I Rick Barnes did and completely forgot.
Oh no, you're fine. It was just like, who are some like players Tennessee should watch out for in conference play?
Yeah, John I. Broome at Auburn. I mean, you talk about, again, someone that could give Tennessee problems. That's a guy, very good post player that can do a whole lot of things down there. That's the first guy that comes to mind. I think, Kentucky's length. Like, Tennessee's a long team. When you look at guys like Dalton being at the 3, Josiah at the 4, like they've got a lot of length out there on the roster. Kentucky can match that as an overall roster. But, in terms of individuals, Broome comes to mind very quickly. The way Reeves is shooting it at Kentucky, that's a big deal. Reed Shepherd at Kentucky is giving everyone problems. It seems like, at least when I've seen him, he's giving everyone problems. So there's definitely some dudes out there. Alabama's roster as a whole, Estrada was the last player I saw that was playing awesome for Alabama. Mark Sears has been scoring a ton. So there's dudes. I mean, this league is really good in terms of NCAA bids, individual players. There's a lot going for it right now.
Yeah, how furious was Gus after that game yesterday? I mean, he's just always on the court yelling at somebody. So I figured there's a video somewhere of him probably on the court yesterday after that loss to Auburn, like they did.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. And what Auburn did yesterday was just extremely impressive. That's probably a big part of that. I was at the gym before going to the game yesterday. Humble brag, of course.
You got to get that weight off.
Yeah, obviously. The Christmas weight is here. I had to be on the treadmill. He's had Kentucky, Florida, which that game kept me on the treadmill longer because it was so good for so long. Mm-hmm. And then Arkansas, Auburn came on, and I'm like, man, close game. I came home, cleaned up, went to Tennessee's game, checked the final score, and I was like, excuse me? What happened here? 30-ish almost. Yeah, I would be on the court a little upset too if that happened to me.
Exactly. Yeah, that was kind of the one surprise I had from yesterday, other than I thought Mississippi State would probably take care of South Carolina. Maybe South Carolina is a little better than what I thought they would be. But also, if Tolu Smith is hurt, that probably makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, Michi Johnson at South Carolina probably fits in that conversation of players right now too. Because Lamont, I picked South Carolina last in the league going into the year, and they're what 13-2, 12-2, something in that general range. I mean, they're way ahead of I think what anyone expected they would be this season. So that was a shocking result to me as well, because I do think Mississippi State's pretty good.
Where did you pick Ole Miss at, if you don't mind me asking?
I think like 10th or 11th, and I think they're going to come back to earth.
Yeah, a little bit of fool's gold in that record.
Yeah, that non-conference schedule was sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously beat Memphis, and I do think Memphis is good. That game was at Ole Miss. They beat NC State maybe by 20, so much more convincing than Tennessee did. That game was also in Oxford, though. Then they beat Cal in San Antonio the same day Tennessee played NC State. Those are UCF they played. So I know Chris Beard kind of touted they played a team in the Big 12. It's like you played UCF. It's in the Big 12. That is factually correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 13-0 record was very much fool's gold, I think. And going back to Ken Pom again, he had Ole Miss ranked number 1 in the country in luck going into yesterday. So that kind of says a little something too, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. I love that you didn't mention anybody from Vanderbilt. That kind of makes me happy.
Vanderbilt, I did not pick last, but I probably should have. It's really
interesting. Safe bet.
Yeah, and Rick, I'll parrot Rick Barnes here a little bit. Jerry Stackhouse is a good basketball coach. I mean, the stuff he does is good, but just something's missing in that puzzle there. Whether it's development, recruiting, I don't know what it is, but something's off. And the way they lose some non-conference games is puzzling. I mean, they annually take the worst loss in the SEC to some team that's like 330th in the country. Yeah, I mean, it defies logic, some of the games that Vanderbilt loses. And then Tennessee lost to them last year on a buzzer beater. So these things happen.
Yeah. I got one more question. I want to move on a little bit from thinking about that buzzer beater. That could ruin somebody's year for sure, losing to Vanderbilt like that. Who's a better dancer, you or Rod Clark, you think?
Definitely Rod Clark. I saw that video, and that song's been stuck in my head not since yesterday. I also texted Rod about the video because we're both big Sticky Rice fans out in West Knox. Good Laotian restaurant out there. Yeah. And I texted him the video and said, when someone says, let's go to Sticky Rice. But yeah, that dance was funny.
I love that he did a little jiggle to it, and then he eventually turned into the electric slide.
Big old electric slide hop.
Yeah.
Big old electric slide hop. So
yeah, I think you had to be careful. I think he stopped it a little bit before, it got too wild in there. You don't want to ruin anybody's chances of getting hurt or stuff like that.
You don't hurt yourself either.
Exactly.
Once you get to the 30s and near 30, it's a gamble.
He already had to sit out some games. He can't sit out anymore.
You can't sit out hurt as a coach. That's just not it.
All right, Mike. Well, we do appreciate you coming on the show. Been a while. Let's do this. Let's not wait for what's it been, like a couple years? Has it been?
Might be. Yeah, it's been a minute for sure. Yeah, we'll have to make this a more regular thing for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. One baseball question, because it wouldn't be right if we had you on and didn't ask at least one baseball question. What do you think about the new stadium?
Awesome. I saw one of the staff members the other day, and he showed me a video of some of that stuff going in, and seeing that ballpark enclosed all the way around is really cool.
Okay. Was it Chad Zerker by chance?
It was Chad Zerker.
My man.
Yeah, and seeing that left field line, which, I've been here since fall 2017. And at that point even until a couple years ago, that left field line still had those picnic tables on AstroTurf, weird situation down there. Seeing it go from that to the temporary bleachers to being enclosed is really special. And it's obviously a testament to what Tony Vitello's done, what so many of these players that have come through here have worked to do. Because obviously everyone bought in on a vision on the field, and what they've done on the field is help build a program around it. And now it's showing a stadium. So that ballpark looks really cool, man. And obviously the years to come, they'll keep building it up. Into the new press box, which I'm really excited for, because the Lindsey Nelson Stadium press box is a
Not
unique
great.
place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is kind of sad that we won't get, the bleachers in
Mm.
left field just continue to stack on top of each
Mhm.
other year in and year out. I think Grant Ramey put up a
Yeah.
picture of
I texted him last year at the start of the first game, and I basically said, "Make this thing look like the Quidditch World Cup for me." He took the 3 decks and just kept stacking them and stacking them.
Yeah,
And stacking them.
yeah.
I mean, maybe
That
he'll
would
put
be
a.
cool.
It'd be wild.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Well, if you would just let everybody know where they can find your stuff and check you out daily.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at by Mike Wilson, by Mike Wilson, because having my name is really hard for social media and email and things like that. So that's where that's at. And then Go Vols Extra or KnoxNews.com is where all the work I do is at.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate you, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you guys for having me.
See you, Mike. That was Mike Wilson with Knox News. Go Vols Extra. Does a great job covering Tennessee, especially baseball, basketball, but does football as well. Really appreciate him hopping on. And now he's, I think this is his second time on the show. So, reoccurring guest, friend of the pod, officially.
Stacking the list up.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, before we get into that, if you would, just go check out Rhoback.com. Use promo code More Important Issues for 20% off your first purchase. They got great polos, hoodies, joggers. Joey Boots got a sweatshirt. He loves it. It's his favorite sweatshirt. I got a T-shirt the other day, and I love it.
Dude,
They're
they're
the best
clean.
T-shirts I've ever had. So go check them out. Also, I mention this all the time, but the polos don't wrinkle.
They literally don't. They're magic.
It's unreal to me. I still can't believe it.
And it's like a perfect mixture of like, because some bad polos are like so light that like they feel weird and then they wrinkle and they don't fit well. But the Rhobacks are like heavy enough that like it stays where it's supposed to. You can wear it untucked, tucked. It's not weird either or, which is usually a thing with polos.
Yeah.
And they don't wrinkle. I don't know how it works, but like you can toss that.
We're
thing in
getting
your
so
golf bag for
old
3 months.
because we're talking about this, but it does mean a lot when I get it out of the dryer and it's ready to put on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, you get older, you expect some certain things. You got some of those shirts that just never stay or never stay not wrinkled. So it's nice to, have one consistent go-to ready in the bag for that quick little pick-me-up Sunday round when you get that text at 8 a.m. It's like golf today. You're like, I don't have a polo ready. Rhoback's going to be ready no matter where it's at.
Absolutely. Yeah. Guys, go check them out again, Rhoback.com. Promo code More Important Issues, 20% off your first purchase. All right, let's get into a little bit of recruiting news. Tennessee got a big commit today, 2025 four-star tight end, Jack Van Dorseler?
Something like that.
It's
I'm not going to try.
It's close. I mean,
there's definitely a silent letter in there somewhere. I just don't know.
Tight end Jack.
Dorslayer?
Dorseler? I don't know.
If it is Slayer, if it's pronounced Slayer at the end, we're going to have some awesome nicknames for this guy if he starts just absolutely slaying defense.
I slay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm in. But yeah, really good tight end. I got to watch a little bit of his film, and I think it is big for Tennessee to get guys who can not only catch passes, got to catch passes as a tight end, especially in this offense, but can, go inside, be an H-back, be a threat in the run blocking game as well. And that's what Jack does at Southlake Carroll in Southlake, Texas. And I think that is big. Alec Abelin was able to get on him early, create that relationship. I think it kind of sets up nicely for Tennessee's kind of had a little bit of issues recruiting tight ends. Did get the number one guy in the portal, which I think that was huge, but had some troubles with the high school kids. And, I think Alec Abelin to be able to get on this one early, create that relationship, and kind of sell him on a vision of what Tennessee's tight end room can look like. And, you get a four-star tight end, one of the top tight ends in the country out of the state of Texas. When Texas wanted him, Baylor wanted him, USC wanted him, and Tennessee gets the commitment. Got to be able to keep, hold on to him as you get, what are we, a year away from signing day, but a good start, 6'5", 230-pound tight end, and one of the best high school football programs in the country.
Yeah, nowadays it's like you don't – I mean, it's almost like you don't even want to get an ounce of excitement about it just because he doesn't seem like someone that's going to play the jump around game like Jordan Seaton maybe, but I mean, I don't know. I we'll have to see. But, yeah, like you said, highest rated recruit for that 2025 class, and getting that tight end position is huge. I mein, with Heupel's offense, we've seen tight ends be a lot more equipped to be versatile and just be used in that offense. And having Holden Stays, and it seems like tight end's going to become a lot more of a highly necessary recruitable position for Tennessee, and being able to get this one this early is huge. Plus, I think we've got like 3 guys from Milton, Georgia, so like change it up a little bit just in case trending patterns there. Let's get a guy from Texas. I like that. Let's diversify.
Absolutely, yeah. Just hammering the state of Georgia in this class so far. But yeah, landing somebody from Texas is good. Also, fun fact, that's where Quinn Ewers went to high school, South Lake, Carroll.
Oh,
in South Lake, Texas. Yeah,
I guess you're right. Yeah,
I noticed that because I was like, Dragons. That sounds so familiar. Where have I seen that?
Well, I've definitely seen their uniforms because like the commitment picture was him in that Dragons uniform, which is kind of cool. Like I know like Dragons might not sound like the most like cool high school team, but like
yeah, it's cool. It's way better than the Tigers or the Bulldogs. Okay,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and stealing NFL logos and stuff. Dragons is cool.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Tennessee lands that one. Also had some transfers in this weekend for visits. Man, it just kind of underwhelming a little bit with offensive line recruiting, but especially in the transfer portal. Not really high school. I think he landed some big names. Obviously didn't get Jordan Seaton like you mentioned earlier, but from the goose chase he had people on signing day, I'm cool with not dealing with that. Now, if he was here, I'd probably think otherwise. But
oh, of course.
Yes. But you had the Kansas offensive lineman coming for a visit. Armaj Reed Adams ended up committing to Texas A&M. He's from Texas, so it kind of makes sense. Diego Pounds from North Carolina, who visited Tennessee during his high school days, during his recruiting process, and then offensive lineman Lance Hurd, who is a cousin of Tennessee signee defensive lineman Jermias Hurd, and we'll see where that one goes. Diego Pounds, it looks like he's Ole Miss is trending, but good God, they're trending for everybody. Lance Hurd, I think Oklahoma is one to watch. Tennessee's in there, so we'll see kind of what happens. You land one, I think you're good. But yeah, don't want to strike out on all 3 of them. That just doesn't seem great. And again, like Tennessee has already kind of had issues with missing on offensive linemen. I don't know how Glenn Ellerby seems like a great position coach and develops guys. I mean, the Darnell Wright is something you can sell to pretty much anybody in the country, but
right.
I mean, you can't be a dud. Like you actually have to go out and recruit and want to do it and have fun doing it. And it just seems like not a huge priority for him up to this point. So I'd like to see more of that, please.
Yeah, it's something we'll have to look at. Obviously, we with the 2024 class got some highly touted O-line guys coming in, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely something to look out for, especially looking forward, at this point in the season when you're starting to creep into the 2025 classes and stuff and looking at transfers. Yeah, Tennessee might be a brother school. I don't know. We just had Brazel's brother.
Yeah, Colin Brazel.
Yeah, we've had the Mays. I mean, I'm cool with that. If we keep it. And then also, oh man, I'm going to have to reach.
Also, maybe next year when Arch Manning
comes
back to Tennessee.
Which one we got to commit for 2024 and his brother. Who am I thinking?
Oh, Max Anderson.
Is it?
His brother, I think it was at Oklahoma or something. He transferred to somewhere else. I don't remember where it was.
Is it Spillman? Doesn't Spillman have a brother?
Oh yeah, Nate Spillman. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There you go. Yes,
So
sir.
I don't know.
Yeah, and also 5-star quarterback George McIntyre. Looks like it's kind of down to Tennessee and Alabama. And for the 2025 class, should be making his decision sometime soon in the next month. And again, the number one quarterback in the country, number one player in the state of Tennessee. Definitely don't want to lose that one. Really good quarterback prospect out of Brentwood Academy in Nashville, 6'5.5", 185 pounds. Needs to get a little bit bigger for my liking, but
For sure.
really good prospect that plays basketball as well and can sling it. And I just don't want to lose an in-state recruit to Alabama. I just don't. So got to land that one. I think that will be good. And also, like, looking at it from his perspective, if I'm looking at Alabama and Tennessee, I'm thinking, okay, Nico, and this is no offense to Jake Merklinger, but you have Nico, big bowl game. Looks like the future of Tennessee. In 2 years, he's probably gone. Well,
Yeah.
George McIntyre, you will be probably a redshirt freshman or a sophomore, and that could be your starting job. Alabama just signed the number one quarterback in the country in the 2024 class. So,
Yeah.
a lot less to compete with, in my opinion, at Tennessee. Probably a quicker path to the field. Now, if you go beat out the number one player in the country, I guess it really doesn't matter if you think you can do that. But I think it kind of sets up nicely for George McIntyre at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I have orange goggles on, so that's what I'm going to say
Well,
anyway to make myself feel better.
Of course. Yeah, I know there's idiots on Twitter X. I still don't know. A side note, but I don't know like what the actual thing is. Like when you say tweet, I was watching the news the other day, and they still like as a publicated news channel like say like on Twitter or tweet. So I don't know if that's ever going to rub off because I'm not just going to say like yo X me or re-X me, repost me on X. Like
yeah, that sounds dirty.
Yeah. So change the app while you want. There's still plenty of stupid fans on there that are going to tweet outrageous stuff. People do forget like Nico's great, but he's one guy. Like we need to still look at future quarterbacks. That's not, especially 2025. Even if we were looking at like 24 and stuff, it's like, okay, well, that's not how that works. We don't just have. I know you're excited about Nico, and again, the bowl game absolutely helped. I mean, I think it's going to give us all to talk about in the off season and look forward to spring practice and everything. But there's, and everybody in the facility knows that. Everybody in the coaching staff fully understands it. I think there's just a lot of Tennessee fans that don't understand it. So,
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the national championship before we get into segments. Man, I'm going to watch it because I do think it is like a big game. And it's going to be somebody different from Georgia, so that's good. Here's the thing. I'm not interested because, like, I don't have, like, obviously it's not Tennessee, so I don't care who wins. But I do want to watch this football game.
Can we agree that – oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I think it's great that it's not an SEC team.
Yeah.
They're not being able to build on, like, hey, cool, Alabama made it to the college football playoff. Cool. Guess what? You didn't win it.
Yeah.
Tennessee ended on a high note. Alabama did not.
This is a good point. You got to find small wins.
Mm-hmm.
And we also beat Alabama in the first half. We don't need to worry about what happened in the second half. That's not,
exactly.
not relevant whatsoever. I saw that there's been that map that goes around every year that shows the bubble of where teams have won a national championship. And it's basically in the Southeast and has stretched, I guess, to Baton Rouge maybe, or I don't know what geographically.
Baton Rouge up to like
the furthest
Ohio State, I guess.
Yeah, so it's pretty small circle.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're gonna expand either way. If it does Washington, then that map will never get circled again because then you have the entire country circled.
Also, it would be all time if Washington won and they're in a conference who's not even going to be like the conference is basically evaporated next year.
Yeah, that's a weird way to think about it. Yeah, because I guess Pac-12 is just gonna. Do you hang a banner?
Yeah,
I don't know. You get a trophy ceremony? Like I don't know. What's that look like next season? Just Big Ten? Hey, here. So,
where is Washington joining the Big Ten?
Oh, are they? Are they one of the Big Ten teams, or are they going? Oh, I don't know, dude. I get this all mixed up. It's gonna take a while to get used to.
Oh yeah, it's never going to make any sense.
Because obviously, like
They
UCLA,
are
USC
joining the
and
Big
stuff.
Ten.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So I mean,
Basically every decent team in the Pac-12 is joining the Big Ten.
so how long does the Pac-2 like run off this Washington win? If they win, they're gonna be like,
I
hey,
don't know.
that was us. I mean, like, we're only us now, but that was us. I'm gonna watch
I
it.
think you sell it like Notre Dame. You just become independent and you just like recruit like, hey, we want to take on every conference, us against the world.
Yeah.
That's what I think you should do.
I'm cool with it.
Big Ten, just like the two teams left. Who are the two teams left?
It's Washington State and Oregon State, or is it? I think
Okay. Well, those two should just combine a school in the middle of them
that's what I'm saying.
and just be University of the Pac-2.
Yes, Oregon State and Washington State.
University of the Pac.
I'm cool with that. Or dissolve them. Maybe like everyone like do a lottery, like everyone gets, which is so crazy to think about college kids. Like that's absurd anyway. But I don't know. Maybe ship a couple of them off. We'll do like a lottery system. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how you'd want to do that. Just split them up evenly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. I'm cheering for Michigan's favored. They got a 75% chance to win on ESPN. Not that ESPN knows nearly anything, but it should be. I mean, it'll be a good game. Everyone's gonna be tuned in. I'm cheering for Washington. I don't hate Michigan horribly, but I would hate to watch ESPN for the next 2 weeks and just all see about overcoming adversity and every coach gonna be crying and we're never gonna hear the end of it. And I feel
not
like
going to hear the end of it if they win a national championship. That's Ohio State. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to just Ohio State and Michigan fans just going at it if Michigan does
this
win.
is true. This is a good point.
I think that's the only thing I'm looking forward to if Michigan wins. I don't know, like what makes more sense for Harbaugh. Does he win one and be like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to the NFL. Like I finally did it.
I don't know.
Or is it just if he doesn't win it, he's like, oh, I'm going to the NFL because I'm never going to win one. That was my one chance. Because this is Michigan's one chance probably to win a national championship. I know Michigan fans probably don't want to hear that, but it's true.
Can we agree that Georgia probably would have tore up the CFP? And I mean,
100%.
It's
100%.
which is so funny to look at because you're like, dude, like what this four team structure and then just going off committee and stuff. Like Georgia would have came through here and cleaned table and I mean probably would have given Michigan. I mean, after watching Michigan Bama, I think Georgia had it pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hope Penix is able to do it. He's got a good story, obviously, and maybe Volskans can contribute and be like, hey, this guy's a national championship winner. He should have been.
We claim him.
Yeah, exactly. We'll claim him. We're gonna put his rafter number up. We're gonna. It might be small, might be like this big, but it's gonna be up in Neal Stadium and
little Penix.
Yeah,
small Penix.
Little small Penix energy. Where's this thing at? Houston. NRG, is that where Texans play?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't know. It's a national championship game. I'll tune in. I'm not going to bet on it.
I don't know where to bet because I think Michigan is a better team overall. But dude, Washington can score.
They can
score.
I think
Michigan
quick too.
I think Washington has a better quarterback. Now JJ McCarthy kind of played out of his mind against Alabama, but I do think Penix is a better quarterback. I just think in the trenches that Washington just is not going to be able to hold up.
Yeah.
But their receivers are better, but also Michigan's defense is better than probably what they've played all year long. So I don't know. I really don't know like where to go with this one. I think my gut says Michigan probably wins because they are the better football team on paper. But man, Washington, the way they can score with all those receivers, Rome Odunze, McMillan. I mean,
yeah,
they can ball.
Michigan's minus 5.5. I wouldn't hate taking Washington opposite side of that, and 56.5. I don't know. I kind of like the under. I just think it's going to be a little bit underwhelming of a game, and I hope it's not.
Yeah,
an absolute thriller.
I think you're right. I think it is kind of uglied up, and that's the way Michigan wants it to go.
Yeah, which is funny because it's the 1 and 2 seeds. So
yeah, because if
people that
it's a
don't-
shootout, Washington wins. But every time I doubt Washington, they win.
which is true. I've not been sold on either one of these teams all season.
Yeah, I
I
thought
thought
Washington
Washington had a
was gonna
cupcake, or Michigan had a cupcake schedule, and then I didn't think OSU was that impressive. But when they beat them, like, you know, and then took care of Alabama, who again we can talk. Don't think Bama was that impressive. I mean, I think Bama was kind of fraudulent. Still took care of
This
them.
will be the best quarterback that Michigan has played all year by a long shot.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't think Washington is gonna call a quarterback draw on 4th down. I don't.
That was the most horrifying play call I've ever seen in my entire life. Someone's got to be fired for that.
It wasn't the worst. We got to go with our man Pete Carroll for that one.
That's true. Maybe collegiate. Are we going? Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that was. I mean, implication wise, if you ran that play from that situation, national championship, it's damn close. I mean, that is just now. It's not Marshawn Lynch back there, so I mean, I get it, but God, that is brutal.
Yeah.
I wish if Bama would have just lost to Auburn, which that play should never happen in the back of the corner, we wouldn't be having any of these conversations.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the point that you made that Georgia would wipe the floor probably with the college football playoff. I think that's the reason I'm okay with the 12-team playoff. At first, I was like, dude, this is so stupid. Like, we're just adding teams that are never going to have a chance to win it. Well, in that case, like I'm happy that Georgia and Alabama are not winning national championship. I am.
Yeah.
But if we're going off the best team wasn't in the college football playoff. And it was because they lost one game on a neutral site field in a championship game.
Exactly. Well, and that's why it's nice to be able to have the 12-team have
Any
that
other year
outcome
they're in, because that game doesn't matter. But everybody was either undefeated or one loss and won a conference championship, and they didn't. And so it sucks, but it happened.
Yeah, and I think that's like really what it comes down to is it's like you with the 12-team, it'll play out that way, and you can't have anybody to blame. You know, there's no committee in terms of. I mean, yes, maybe okay, now it gets shifted back, but I mean, it's but when we get to that level, exactly, Georgia would have been able to make it in after losing Alabama in the SEC game championship, and if they really could just run the table and beat everybody, then they will do that, and they'll have the proving grounds to do it, which is usually how playoffs work. That's why it's nice to expand it, because every other sports playoff allows for that. It's the same reason. It's like why fantasy kind of sucks. It's like you can have an absolute tear in the all season.
There is going to be issues with like who should be in the top 12 and who shouldn't. Like there's going to be that every year, right? But if you weren't in the top 12, do you really have much of an argument? Like if you weren't in the top 4 but you're 5th, like that sucks. But if you're 13th and should have been 12th, hey man, I mean you had probably 2 chances. You had 2 slip-ups, basically. You got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and we'll hear like it'll be pushed back a little bit further, but we'll hear like oh, why didn't Tulane get in or like whatever, and it'll come down to that, but it'll be lower level stuff that isn't top 4 versus top 12, I think, and it's kind of like how 64. Can you really be mad if you weren't one of the top 64 teams or 68 technically? Like if you're a bubble team and you didn't last 4 out, like. You can complain in your own circle, but this isn't going to be national media that someone got stripped of their opportunity, because it's like, look, you really had an opportunity, and it was to be way better. And I don't think we're going to see, Oregon State, like just any random team that really like is sitting around that 12 area have a huge situation where it's like clearly they made the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a toss up down at that level.
Yeah, but I think. Probably Blake Corum, that offensive line, that defensive line probably gets the most of Washington in this game. So I'm gonna pick Michigan, but I would love to see Washington just unload that offense on Michigan. That would be sick.
You want to do a score prediction really quick? Dylan sent his score prediction, so
okay.
We have an opportunity to sound cool and act like and I can edit it too to make it sound like we said exactly what we predicted. So
Dylan says. I think it comes down to a game-winning drive, 27-24 Michigan. If it comes to a game-winning drive, I'm going to go that Washington wins that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It kind of feels like it's either going to be like okay, Michigan's got this game, like they're going to win this at halftime or whatever, or it's going to be like Washington's going to upset them in last second.
Yeah.
So what's that? 51. So Dylan likes the under and Washington plus 5.5. I'll go. I know I said I like the under, but I think Dylan's right on the mark. I mean, I think 56.5 is a good number. I'll say 30-24 Michigan. I think that there's going to be some, but I don't think it's going to come down to like a game winning. I think it's going to get settled around, 3 or 4 minute mark, and Washington will have a chance with some timeouts, and Michigan will be able to run out the ball.
I'm going to say 27-21.
Okay.
Michigan.
Okay. So all 3 on Michigan.
So definitely Washington's going to win now.
I was about to say, should I swap over? I'll do. All right, I'm changing mine. 35-17 Washington. That's what we're going with.
Oh my god.
We're gonna go full reversal because I mean, you know what? I mean, it's not cool if we're all just all wrong together, or if we're okay.
It is kind of cool. Like, I mean, betting with just with the guys, just doing like a group bet. If it hits, like you're all hype. But if it doesn't, like you kind of all lose together, it kind of makes it a little bit better than just losing by yourself.
Oh, for sure. Squad rides are the most amazing thing in the world. And girlfriends and fiancés and wives never get it. They don't understand the attraction. But when you got, honestly, 3 or more people, but when it's like up to like 8 huddled around the TV for the same thing and it hits, even like the enjoyment of losing your bet together makes it so much better because it's like,
yeah,
you just watched me get absolutely shafted and now you feel it because like we all got shafted together. So,
yeah. Me and the guys put one in last night. We did Texans -1 and CJ Stroud to have 200+ passing yards. And I put a couple units on it, and it hit.
Did it?
And yeah, I mean, it was one where you had to sweat, and cheeks got a little clenched during it. But thank God that that running back for the Colts on 4th down just dropped that ball. I mean,
well, because they took JT out and swapped it over and did. I think he's just a maybe more receptive back or whatever. But it was 50-50. The throw was a little behind on that turn, and I mean it's the rule. It's fingertips. You got to catch it. I mean, it hit you. You got to catch it. I know it's the moment and stuff, and I'll show you the video once we get off because it's 100% not suitable for television. But I got a Colts buddy, and I think his time as a Colts fan is just about wearing down.
Dang. I love
it's a tough scene.
Yeah. So squad rides, is that what you called it?
Oh yeah, squad ride.
Sounds kind of dirty too, but yeah, I'm in.
Oh yeah, we might as well rebrand that on the public face at least.
Yeah.
We'll do a squad ride soon. We'll do a more important issue squad ride soon.
Okay.
More details coming.
Yeah.
Dylan, I can't open the chat. I'm gonna start laughing.
We got a question here from Matt Roberts. He says, I know we have dominated one league game, but my question is, how many SEC games do we win? And is the most complete basketball team you have ever seen? I say yes.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's Mike touched on it earlier. I think it's like all the factors of like you've had really
the facts are there to back it up.
Yeah, exactly. It's you got the KenPom there. I'm getting sucked into those TikToks that are like the one dude that just goes over every basketball stat and does it like the 4 quadrant boxes and like where you're at and stuff. And Tennessee proves well in a lot of those. So you have the numbers, you got the numbies, you got the stats, you got a stacked team, you got depth. So
squad rides,
man. I mean, maybe we'll squad ride a Tennessee Final Four bet soon.
Let's do it. I'm in.
I'm down, and we can get Nico at plus 1,800 for Heisman. We got a lot we can work on.
I love that. Yeah. I'm just lost with the squad ride.
Is that?
I do think this is one of the. I mean, it's just hard to put this team past the Admiral and Grant.
I mean, in terms of like overall, I think we're still right. In terms of like moments and feeling, beating Gonzaga and being the number 1 team in the country, like that feeling felt like we were going to win a national championship. But I mean, we learned that would have been Purdue, right? That took us down that year.
Yeah.
Shout out Sister Jean, who don't get me started on her. she's right behind Jeremy Banks, but I can't stand her. Carson Edwards and is it Evan Klein or whoever? Just Ryan Klein decided to drop 8 threes on us in the last 5 minutes. Oh, don't even get me started. So yeah, I don't remember what the question was, but sure, most complete team.
Yeah, and how many SEC? I don't know how many SEC. I would say you probably bank on 3 to 4 losses, probably.
Yeah, Kentucky away is going to be. I mean, that's just going to be a hard game, no matter how you write that.
It's going to be tough to beat them twice. Auburn is going to be a tough game, and you probably slip up.
Yeah, I was about to say you'll probably have a weird slip up game against like Texas A&M, or I mean, Auburn's obviously going to be a tricky game. Luckily, that game's going to be great.
Yeah,
February 28th.
You should absolutely be that top 3 is going to be fighting to see who wins the SEC regular season title, and I know the SEC tournament gets all the love, but I think the SEC regular season championship is more impressive in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. That's I mean, it's a half year season. I mean, it's way more games and it's way
the
more
SEC tournament. I'm just like, dude, let's get to the NCAA tournament. I could care less about this. Meaningless tournament that's pretty much already been decided.
Yeah,
like I know the tournament has, but the pecking order of the SEC has already been decided because of the regular season.
Yeah, and like it. I mean, when you're looking at seeding and stuff, like it only helps so much. Like if Tennessee goes in as projected 2 seed for March Madness, and then all of a sudden, you slip up in the quarterfinals even of the SEC tournament, you're not shattered. It's not really going to affect your seeding too much. Like, and you're right. You got March Madness. You turn around straight into March Madness. So 100% more impressive. Plus, I got a little odds boost on Tennessee regular season champs. So we're gonna squad ride that one.
Squad ride,
baby.
All right. Let's get into segments real quick. Before we do that, go check out AC Memento. It's a great app where you can kind of scrapbook all the games that you go to. I know paper tickets aren't a thing anymore, so this is the way that you can remember all the games you go to. They also have live scoring. They have stats that you can implement. You can include photos from the game to make it a little ticket where you can print those out and actually have something in hand that says you went to that game. It's just a great app that you can kind of track all the games you go to, all the stadiums you've been to, all the teams that you've went against, lost, won. Again, just a kind of a tracking thing where you're able to just keep on with those memories. Some of my greatest memories of all time are at sporting events. So I want to remember those, and you should too. Go to AC Memento to download that app, and we'll tweet out a link with that. Just join that today, download that app, and start incorporating all those games that you attend in that. Most important.
Yeah, let me pull that up here.
Yeah, Dylan, you're welcome to get in here too if you want to. If not, that's cool. Also, shout out Joey Boots for Caleb's sick, dealing with some the funk that's kind of going around. So Joey,
everybody's sick.
Was like, I'm in. And
of course, I'm always in.
Did a great job, so I appreciate that.
And I'm never in the same background. You physically couldn't guess where I am right now, just because there is no guess. There's nothing there. So yeah, no problem. Love hopping in here. Hope Caleb feels better, and show must go on. So we're always ready. Let me pull up my most important here. Go ahead.
First, I got the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State winning the back-to-back national championships, the FCS playoffs.
Dude, I wish FCF and like lower tier games were more. I mean, I saw a TikTok of a dad celebrating his alma mater winning the D3 championship, and it was awesome. And that's why sports are awesome, because it's every level. Like if it's about what it means to you, and if you can get me pumped up for a D3 like game like that, I'm all down. Like if you can, I'm about it. So shout out Jackrabbits, South Dakota State, cool colors, decent mascot. Yep. I'm all about it.
Jackrabbits, something different. Also, South Dakota State. Don't know what else you have to, really celebrate in that state. but glad you're getting something with the FCS National Championship. You deserve it.
Man, I'm trying to think. I've been to South Dakota. It's pretty, dude. It's not great.
I mean, it
Mount
would just
Rushmore
seem like the
sucks.
worst place.
Mount Rushmore sucks.
Is that where the Mount Rushmore's at?
Yeah. And they got like this wall drug place that like they hype up, and it's literally the Sevierville of South Dakota. Like it is just a Walmart packed in the middle of South Dakota, pretty much. They got, I mean, Badlands are cool. I think Laura Ingalls Wilder used to live there, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the Pocket Museum in what's it called? Or Hattiesville, right? Hattiesburg?
Oh, Hattiesburg.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, maybe South Dakota people are into wall drug and stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Shell Jackrabbits. I guess that's one of the top attractions now is going to a SDSU game.
Yeah.
Mine's playoffs are nearing in for NFL. I had the video pulled up, but it's just not going to work. But I don't know if you saw the video of Arthur Smith absolutely going crazy at Dennis Allen at the handshake, which I'm about. I wish we had a little bit more scruffles at the 50-yard line after a game. I was
Could you imagine Arthur Smith and Eli Drinkwitz after a game?
Oh, man. We get some awesome hot mic moments.
I mean, here's the thing.
Nerd out.
Eli Drinkwitz he's a smart enough guy to know who he can do that stuff to and who he can't. Like Will Muschamp would have just beat the brakes off of him in the middle of that field.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel is like kind of cool, calm, and collected. He's not gonna whatever. You act like you didn't hear it. But I mean, you get like Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith would have killed him.
Oh yeah, Arthur Smith gets fired up. There was definitely some easy lip reading. I'll say that, and you could definitely hear some of it on the mic. So, wasn't happy that the Saints decided to maybe get a garbage time timeout. But you know, you got division rivalry like that. That's what makes football. I mean, I see both sides, but you play 60 minutes, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I got one more. It's Nick Brannigan. He's a junior guard at Carson Newman. Shout out, proud alum, Allen's up, baby. He set an NCAA Division II record with 18 threes yesterday against Newberry, scoring 64 points in a 103-51 win.
That's electric.
Game.
That's electric.
Yeah.
Should have been there.
Threes.
Let's get him on the show. That's pretty sweet. 18 threes is nuts. That guy was a green bean. Did you have the stats? Like, what was he 18 for like 21? Was he 18 for 30? And he was just chucking them up all game. Regardless, 18 threes is just, I don't care if he took 90 shots. Well, I guess 90 would be a little aggressive, but his percentage has to, I mean, I bet you his percentage cannot be anything less than 75% from three.
Man, I don't know. I'm trying
even if he put up like 26 shots, made 18, what's the math on that? I guess it's less than 75.
Well, he had 64 points.
Yeah, I just meant like from the three to make. I mean, 18 threes. Even if he attempted 25, it's still like 73%. That's electric.
Pull up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Carson Newman. We got to get those stats out there. Be quick on that box score. I'll do mine really quick. It's just not something light, but PJ Tour is back. We got the first event of the season. We got a elevated event. Don't need John Rahm to have a good week. It was an awesome week seeing all those scenes out in Hawaii. We got Tiger coming back a little bit. It's going to be playing a couple tournaments, maybe 4 or 5 this year. So Landon's into golf now. So at some point you're going to get sucked into watching the Masters and really caring about it, because you're going to start thinking, I can do that. And you can't, but
yeah,
there's like one shot around that you're like, I could have hit that better.
Yeah. In 2 years I'll be on tour. So
yeah, we need to get you in a US Open qualifier is what we need to do. We need to strap you up. I'll caddy for you. We'll do it. Dude, it's like $150. We'll go. There's probably one in Georgia. We'll just go do it.
All right, I'm in. I did get the stats for old Nick Brannigan here. 21 for 34 from the field, 18 for 27 from three.
Okay, so he's working at like 65%. That's ridiculous. He was just chucking them up.
Oh, dude. I mean, feeling it.
I would love to see a breakdown of like time of possession for him versus like how long was the ball in his hands compared to his teammates.
Yeah.
But dude, if your guy's on a tear and he's at 15 threes, like you're not stopping. You're just fine. You're finding him. And also, I don't know what defense atrocity they were playing, But once a guy has like 7 threes in a game, you start double teaming him. I don't care what defensive scheme you have to write up, but you're gonna guard him with everything you have.
Yeah, I was hoping it was a guy that had like averaging like 4 points up into this point. He is averaging 20 points per game.
Okay.
And it's 52% from the field, from 3. Sorry.
So we might see a 23-pointer game this year. So
he's a shooter. I mean, if he gets in your girl's DMs, you're screwed.
Been there, done that. You got any more most important?
No, I don't. I just got a fail here. Just one fail. Dabo Swinney. I mean, just all time shiner.
The other guy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what he's going for. Did we get anything on that? Like, did anybody? I mean, someone had to catch him and ask him something.
Somebody commented and said it was pickleball, but I don't know if that's true or that's just them making fun of a middle-aged white man playing pickleball. I don't know.
Both ways make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. He'll post TikTok about it soon. I'm sure we'll get a TikTok dance once he's cleared
up. He'll have like
a
speech like to his team during workouts. He's like, "Hey guys, like, look what I've been through.
Yeah,
I don't care how bad you're hurting.
Sometimes you get punched in the face. You got to show up to a basketball game and just ride it out."
I mean, dude, it looks like it's still like oozing. He should probably like put some Neosporin or something on that thing.
Yeah, he's like trying to like rub it carefully. He's like pinky, like, like, dude, just stay home.
Yeah.
You don't be because you know what you're gonna get out of that. You're gonna get talked to. You could have worn an eye patch. That'd been cool.
Yeah. I got one more. It's the transfer portal a little bit for me. It's, we were talking about the map earlier about like where the national championships have been won. Like we're getting like maps with players in the portal. Like they've been to this school, this school, this school. Like I just don't understand what we're doing here. Like what is the end goal?
I don't know. And I think it's been
they're not developing at 3 different schools. They're not. You're not getting any better doing that.
No. I don't know. Hey, Big Game Boomer, keep doing your thing. Big, more important issues fan.
Yeah, huge.
I don't think the maps are ever going to stop, and I think as long as the transfer portal is working, we're just going to get some awesome graphics that mean absolutely nothing. Not a lick of information could be pulled out of those graphics, but they're cool. They make people argue, and I know that's exactly what they're going for. It's just comment fuel. That's why I have to.
It's content, baby. That's what
why
on every day. Content.
You don't think Bleacher Report leaving Tennessee out of their way too early top 25 for 2024 football season isn't absolute just comment fuel to have 150 rowdy Tennessee fans in the comments going crazy? No, that's my fail. That you're ridiculous if you don't think that Tennessee should be at least in this. I mean, come on, can we at least get like a little nudge for like conversation? They put Iowa in. I think that was the biggest deal. Is everyone was like, Tennessee just dismantled Iowa, and you're not even going to give them the nod for like you're extremely way too early top 24.
Yeah,
whatever. My 2 fails, I guess, go together. Just teams that suck in the NFL. The Eagles suck. They're frauds. They suck. I mean, they got dismantled by the Giants today, and it didn't even look good. Marcus Mariota played the second half. He looked better than Jalen Hurts. Their O-line can't hold. I know they're just kind of trying to get to the playoffs at this point. They play the Bucks for the first round of the wild card, 5-4. But
didn't AJ Brown get hurt too?
Yes, AJ Brown got hurt, and Devontae Smith's already hurt. Darius Slay's already hurt. Kenneth Gainwell was out, so AJ Brown went down with a knee injury. Looked kind of iffy. It went sideways, but it didn't look. I mean, he walked on it, so I don't know if that's going to be a, into the playoff injury. They suck, and the Patriots really suck. Like they suck. I don't know. What's Bill Belichick's end goal? Like he's already rode the wave too long that retiring now or leaving the organization now kind of seems like he had a chance here when it was like just little signs of like Bailey Zappi sucks and Mac Jones is also awful, but now he's ridden it all the way down here. I mean, does he stay a little bit? I don't know. We got a snow game out of it, which was sick. I didn't know that when I played Ezekiel Elliott for my fantasy championship, and it worked out because, CeeDee Lamb carried me and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But, I mean, they are just an awful team to watch.
Yeah.
And you're a Panthers fan.
Yeah, my Panthers are horrible. We lost 9-0. Had a chance for a touchdown. Got hit at the 1 yard line, fumbled out of the back of the end zone. So I mean, we are just an absolute train wreck. I mean,
Did you ever get your free jersey from Fabletics or Fabletics, whatever? What is it?
yeah, Fanatic.
Fanatics.
Bryce Young. Yeah.
They knew what they were doing with that one.
Yeah, I wanted Brian Burns, but they didn't have a Brian Burns. So I went with Bryce Young. I'm like, well, he's a quarterback, so
It's good enough. Well,
I'm just glad I didn't do Miles Sanders. I mean, good God.
Oh, God. Well, the Dolphins are up 14-7 on the Bills right now, so we'll see how that one pans out. But after that, we're looking at NFL playoffs. So
Yeah, I'm ready for NFL playoffs. Love the playoffs. Bills bet still I can cash out for even money right now, so we're still in the running.
what was your bet?
I put $50 on the Bills to win the Super Bowl every year.
Oh, I did not know about this. This is news to me.
Yeah, so
I don't know how I missed this over the past
we're
3 seasons.
still in it because it's a thing with FanDuel where you get a $5 free bet every game they win. So they win 10 games, you basically got your money back. So it's back to $50 cash out right now. So we're officially in the playoffs. One of the hottest teams in the NFL. My Panthers just suck and have no chance for anything. Like, we can't even be good at tanking because we don't have a first round draft pick. Morons. And then every good player we have, we just like, we should just trade them away for bad picks or bad backup players. That's what we should do.
It wasn't y'all's owner that threw the drink, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a.
Well, he got fined what is equivalent to 71 cents to the average American, I think it was, or $7. Was it? No, I think it was 71 cents or something like that. Like, there's something absolutely sickening for $300,000. So
I hate that man. I won't go on a tangent with him, but yeah, I hate him.
I feel like if you are the owner of a team and you are close enough for fans to be able to interact with you for a long amount of time, aka a open seat box at home game, when your team is 4-12 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your guys' record was. Do you expect it to be all sunshine and rainbows with the fans that are right below you?
Yeah, you've won 2 games, you absolute moron. Let's not be anywhere. What do you think is going to happen? You think fans are going to be like, oh, hey, David, how the heck are you? How's the wife?
Yeah, right.
No, they just paid a lot of money for those season tickets, and you absolutely suck.
Can you imagine that in Philly? Oh, my God, they'd kill the guy.
Yeah.
He'd be dead. And there's no swear.
We should actually hire a bunch of Philly fans to take out David Tepper.
Dude, I know some guys.
I'm in.
Squad ride.
Yes. All right, that's going to be the name of this episode. I don't have anything else. I had a great time, though.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for joining. Have a good week. We'll be back on Thursday. Tennessee has a game, I think, Tuesday, right?
Tuesday against
Mississippi State at Mississippi State.
Wednesday, Mississippi State, 7 p.m. SEC Network.
Okay.
In Starksville.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Guys, thank y'all for listening again. And go check out our great sponsors, Memento, Roback, and Grade A Grounds. Appreciate y'all. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.